Hello, everyone. My name's Lizandra. I use she, her pronouns. Can everyone hear me well? All right. Perfect. This is my reflection for tonight. I remember sitting in the passenger seat on sunny days as a young child while my dad would drive through the winding back roads, highways, and tiny Boston streets. He never checked his phone or glanced at a map. I used to joke that he had Google Maps implanted in his brain, but the truth was, he just knew the way. He always did. Growing up in the era of GPS, I was baffled by this. He could get from our house to New York City or simply down the street to the grocery store without needing any directions. My dad always had the answer to everything, and as a kid, I truly thought he was the most intelligent man in the world. If I were ever stuck on anything, whether it was a math problem or just feeling unsure about something, I could always turn to him. He would know what to say, whether it was teaching me how to use a computer, handle a school project, or even just be there to comfort me when I was upset. He always knew how to get me back on track. He had a way of showing me that even the most complex problems had a path forward. It wasn't just that he had solutions. He was able to give me the confidence to believe that I could find them too. He was my compass. My dad first brought me to church when I was 6 years old, and at first I absolutely hated the idea. I was so anxious to start going to a brand new place without knowing anyone there. Plus, it was taking precious time out of the cartoons I would have been watching on Sunday morning instead. But over time, I was able to find my community at church. I made deep connections with the friends my age, and while we were taught the values of UUism through the guidance of our Sunday school teachers, this helped me find my identity, and even at such a young age, it gave me the language for what I believe and space to ask questions without judgment. I didn't feel pressured to have all the answers. I felt encouraged to be curious and to explore. My father passed away suddenly when I was 12, which made my life completely flip upside down. Suddenly, he wasn't there. I remember trying to fall asleep in my house that night, realizing there would be no more quiet talks in the car, no tucking me into bed at night after a tough day, no more warm bear hugs. That silence was the loudest thing I had ever heard. I didn't just lose a person, I lost the steady sense of direction that had grounded my life. Everything felt unfamiliar. I began to doubt myself in ways I never had before. Without my dad to turn to, I was faced with more complicated questions. Who am I without him? How do I know what's right? What guides me now? I felt numb, and my numbness wasn't just about grief. It was about trying to figure out how to move forward, how to make decisions, and how to keep going myself. How could I do that when my compass was gone? I was lost in a thick, disorienting fog. In that moment, I didn't just need directions. I needed orientation, a sense of purpose, of grounding. I needed something to remind me of who I am and why I keep going, even when the path is unclear. I wasn't looking for a step-by-step guide. I was looking instead for a compass, something internal, something resilient, that I could carry with me no matter where I was. It took me a while to find this, but later in high school, being part of the youth group at my church gave me more than just a community. It gave me a guide, a way to navigate challenging moments. It served as a reminder that all of our values, at their core, center around love. It wasn't just about the discussions and the games of sardines in the dark. It was about becoming the kind of person who could listen, support, and show up for others. Our ritual of candles was the part that made me feel most at home. We'd sit in a circle, dim the lights, and one by one, people would have the opportunity to go up and light a candle and share whatever was weighing on their minds during the week. Sadness, hope, confusion, or joy. It was incredibly comforting to have people just listen, and in that listening, we built trust. That's when I realized this is what it means to be held by a community and loved. In those moments, I wasn't alone. I was seen, I was heard, and I was loved just as I was. That practice, week after week, taught me that sometimes simply showing up is the holiest thing that we can do. Sitting cross-legged around the chalice, I felt my sense of self begin to rebuild and the fog begin to dissipate. As many of you know, UUA recently put the UU values on a diagram, and while brainstorming for this theme, Matt helped me see that our UU values are now drawn in a shape that resembles a compass. Unitarian Universalism lifts interdependence, pluralism, justice, transformation, generosity, and equity, centered around love. They're not a strict set of rules, but something to guide us when we feel lost or uncertain. A way to recenter, pause, and say, what matters most here? They help us make sense of things even when the path ahead isn't clear. These values were a necessary guide when my life took another unexpected turn. In my senior year of high school, my mom was diagnosed with a rare and aggressive cancer. And in that year, everything was uncertain. No one knew how long my mom would have to go through chemo and radiation, how long it would take her to be able to eat again, to have the energy to do the things she loved most, like going on the most extreme roller coasters that you can find. And as the oldest sibling, I had to step up and take care of my little brother, bring him to school, and go through the college application process myself. Having my church and youth group there to support and guide me using these shared values was what really helped me get through that time. They provided a community where I could just be a regular teenager. When I stepped into the youth group room every Sunday night, I was able to leave all my hardships at the door and be present and silly, just like a regular teenager, with my community there for me, providing me love. The UU values don't provide a shortcut, but they do offer clarity in the chaos. They give us direction without demanding uniformity. They offer steadiness, even when the world around us feels unstable. They are the streetlights in the fog, pointing us back towards love. That image feels like the perfect metaphor to describe our community, fluid and flexible, but always rooted in something more profound. It reminds us that we do not have to walk the same way to walk together. It doesn't tell me exactly where to go, but reminds me how to move with care, courage, and intention. It forms the ethical backbone I return to again and again. It's the stars I navigate by, the gentle but persistent pull toward the hope of a kind and just world that we are all worthy of. It reminds me our map isn't a fixed set of directions. It's something we sketch and resketch together. What works for one of us might not work for another, but our compass and shared values always point us toward love. It's dynamic and evolving, and it makes room for growth. We're not here to follow one person's map. We're here to make meaning together, to hold each other accountable to the values that we claim, to keep asking, how can we love more boldly? How can we build a world that reflects our most profound truths? And how can we make sure that no one walks alone? I still don't know how my dad always knew where to go, but I do know what he taught me: how to move with kindness, how to love boldly, and how to never stop showing up. That's the compass he left me, and I carry still. So when you feel lost, as we all do, may you reach for your compass. As I learned growing up with my church community, may you trust that love still has a direction for you. And may we together keep choosing the path that leads toward justice, toward wholeness, and toward one another. Thank you. Carry your compass gently, knowing it lives not in answers, but in the love you offer and receive. When the fog rises or the path disappears, may you remember we walk together, and love will always show us the way.